Good morning, students, and Jai Hind. Uh, After a long time, we are resuming our online classes, and as you have attended the class, and I have already discussed, or we are discussing, and have discussed about the Mughal Chronicles and Mughal Chronicles. This was the features of the Mughal emperors. Now, who commissioned the writers, the writers or the historians who now composed the history of the Mughals and the Mughal dynasties, and uh, and Mughals were the very inclined towards the compilation of the history and compilation of their tarikhs of their descendants, and as well as and they wanted to preserve this for their coming generation and coming generations, and to expose their grandness through their achievements, understand, or the we have already studied about the regarding the Abul first, understand, or as well as now the two compositions we have studied, the Akbarnama or Ainian Akbari or a Badsahnama. Understand? So now after that, we are going to focus students on the capital city and the ports. Now we know that the Mughals, understand, the Mughals capitals was the head quarters of their powerhouse, entire power and the grandness or structures. These were now surrounded, or these were now adjacent around the Mughal courts and the Mughal capitals, because from the capitals, and capitals had its own significance because it was the power center. It was the capitals used to be the administrative centers, and the as well uh, as well as the architectural centers and the music and the dance, and all the elites now settled around the capitals. So the from the capitals say the the Mughal emperors used to command the entire continents from these capitals. So the capitals had its own significance and importance, and this with the but the one thing is the main features of the Mughals was that they used to transform, they used to shift their capitals from one place to the other place. They used to shift their capitals from one centers to the power centers to the other power centers, understand. And now the and these capital cities are they supposed to be the heart of the Mughal empires, understand, supposed to be the heart of the Mughal empires, understand, or moreover heart of the Mughal Empire. These capitals were supposed to be the, and it was the where the, and now at the capitals, the at the capitals the emperors used to hold his everyday activities of the state and the empire everyday. Though so the he used to hold a very grand darbar and the courts. Understand, where the all top braves and the all top seated the elites used to be the seated or the in the courts and assembles in the court, and where the important and significant decision used to be the happened. So Mughals, since they were the fond of the grandness, and they were the fond of the expressing their authority, understand, or their authority and their power. So it was the natural that their capitals used to be the very grand and the very luminous and the very attractive, understand, or attractive or the and it was the adorned very well. And moreover, the capital cities of the Mughals frequently shifted. I have already said the right from the shifted 16th and the 17th century. These emperors used to shift their capitals from one place to the other place. Understand? They were habitual of that, habituated of that, and maybe the and there were so many regions of the administrative regions from where they could command a certain area and or understand certain area as the for example the one thing is that it is a I have already taught that during the Sultanate period, the Muhammad bin Tughlaq, who had now shifted his capital from the Delhi to Daulatabad. Then now there are so many misnomer about this or regarding this that he shifted the capital. He was a mad, and he ordered all the citizens of the Delhi and the subjects of the Delhi to migrate there in Daulatabad. But why did? If you discover and if you try to find out the facts behind this, we shall find that now the reason was that administrative. If you see that some say that the frequent invasion used to be the happened against the king, against the Tughlaqs. Understand now Mongols were invading from the northwest frontiers and creating a great menace. Understand, and the big menace for the capital city of the Delhi. That's why he shifted because of being afraid of these attacks or to make the more secure and the more secure his capital, he shifted the Daulatabad, and because of the fear of that. But one thing is that some historians say that no, he wanted to control the entire subcontinent, and the Daulatabad situated at the mid or situated in the mid of the subcontinent. Understand, and from here he could now control the entire empires and very sufficiently or very efficiently and conveniently he could control the whole of the empire, and this was the reason behind that. And some said that he was a mad and whatever he was there. Understand, but the different historians have given their different opinions about that. Understand, the students here the now here one thing 16 the Babar, now you know that after the first battle of the Panipat, understand, in which the Ibrahim Lodi, understand, he got the defeat, and after the getting the defeat, understand, or he was his capitals was the at Agra. That's why the now the Babur also Babur now preferred to be the seated at the Agra because from where because the Mughal Empire was very new empire, and it had to be the struggle, it had to be the still struggle to establish their foots in India. Understand, Mughals authority in India. That's why he preferred to be the Agra and adjacent area to be the control from the Agra. So for the 4 years, the Babur ruled over the India, and 1530 Babur died. Understand? Babur died. So for the 4 years, Agra remained the capital city. Though during the 4 years of his reign, the court was frequently on the move. Although during this year, he sometimes he now move his court from one place to other place, but the remained at the Agra. It was the capital center, and moreover, during the 1560s. Understand? In this year, Akbar had the fort of the Agra. Akbar had the fort of Agra constructed with the raid, and the Akbar preferred the Agra, and he now got constructed the fort there, Agra fort, and it was now constituted, and it was constructed in the red sandstone. Understand? And these red sandstones had been the collected and had been the carried from the adjacent area and from the local regions of the Agra. Understand? Red sandstone. So the Agra forts was constructed by the Akbar there. Okay, he also preferred the Agra to be the. And in 1570s, if you see, like, during this decade, understand 1570, he now decided to build a new capital. Understand? 1570, he decided a new capital, that is the Fatehpur Sikri. Understand? He was this capital was the most favored capital for the Akbar. Understand? Or still memorable, uh, or the it is the remember. Or now, yeah, or under the Fatehpur Sikri, whatever the now the construction or the architectures were now got constructed by the Akbar, this now actually reflects the Akbar's heart. Understand now the Fergusons who had expressed about the Akbar that Akbar's real personality reflects in the stones. Understand? In the stones, in the architectures. Why? Because his during the architectures which had been the now got constructed, the structures which had been the got constructed during the Akbar. Understand? Were the admixture of the all kinds of the styles, even the Persian styles, even the Indian architectural styles, even the Christians or the Greek and the Gothic articles styles had been now reflects in the structure of the Akbar. So the actual heart or the broad and the liberal heart of the Akbar or his thoughts actually reflects in the buildings. Understand? So the one of the now center of the architectures and the capital city which the Akbar got shifted at the Fatehpur Sikri. Understand? He chosen this city as a new capital in the 1570, and one of the reason prompting this may have been the Sikri was located on the direct road to the Ajmer. Now one thing is that some historians now say that one of the reason the Fatehpur Sikri to be the as the capital city. Reason was prompting that this Sikri was located at the root of Ajmer. Understand? Fatehpur Sikri was situated at the mid root of the Ajmer. Understand? Or the Ajmer, where the Dargah of Sheikh Muinuddin Chishti was situated. Sheikh Muinuddin Chishti Dargah was situated in the Ajmer. At the or this Sikri was situated at its and the mid of its route, and where the Dargah of Sheikh Muinuddin Chishti had become an important pilgrim centers, and moreover by then the Dargah of the Muinuddin Sheikh Chishti had become a very prominent pilgrims. The large scale people and the Muslims and the Hindus from the different parts of the subcontinent used to now arrive there. Understand? Arrive there and used to visit that place. So that's why the Sikri had its own importance because it was situated and on the route of the Ajmer. Understand? Or the Ajmer. And the visitors could now, whosoever came there, understand, for the Muinuddin Chishti, they could now visit and watch the Fatehpur Sikri structures. And moreover, had become Mughals emperors entered into the close relationship with the. Now one thing is that I have already mentioned students that the Akbar was too liberal. Akbar was now and the many kind of the thoughts were there, religious orthodox, now the Sunni Shias, understand, or the Sunni and Sunni and the Shia and the Sufis. So the Akbar's ideology was very close to the Sufi, and I have already mentioned that Sufi emphasized on the love, devotion, and they did not care for, and they did not now any made the any discrimination between the Hindus and Muslims called. No, they now embraced or adopted the both or they accepted the Hindus and Muslims together. Understand that that's why the Akbar's nature and the Mughals nature now reflected or the very nature resembled very close to the Sufi saints who were the much and the more liberal saints and the Chisti silsila, and particularly we know that the Chishti Silsila, there were the four Silsila. I have already the Qadri Silsila, Naqshbandi Silsila, Surabardi Silsila, and the Chishti Silsila. So the Chishti Silsila became the very prominent in India. Understand? So the Chishti Silsilas was the very liberal and the prominent, and even the Hindus and Muslims both were the follower. The common Hindus and the Muslims followed this silsila, and Akbar commissioned the construction of a white marble tomb for Sheikh Salim Chishti. Sheikh Salim Chishti, Akbar now got constructed a white marble tomb in the dedication of the Sheikh Salim Chishti next to the majestic Friday Mosque of the Sikri. Next to the Friday Mosque, the Sikri, beside that, okay, Sheikh Salim Chishti, understand, tomb was got constructed in the white marble, in the white marble structure, and the now Friday or the just beside the mosque of the Sikri. Moreover, the enormous arched gateway Buland Darwaja, another the prominent structure that Akbar got constructed, that was the Buland Darwaja. Now one thing is that now Akbar one of the celebrated victory over the Gujarat, and in the commemoration of the victory of the Gujarat, commemorating the victory of the Gujarat, Akbar now got constructed the Buland Darwaza. Understand? And now this was the this victory was not ordinary victory. Understand? Now the Vincent Smith and other contemporary historians, they are the surprised and stunned to how Akbar the marched from the Delhi from the Delhi to the Gujarat and got a victory in a very rapid way. Such a victory in the world history is rarely found in the history of the world. As the Akbar so quickly and so fast victory he got a over the Gujarat, because this was the necessary for Akbar to bring under his control the Gujarat, because the Gujarat they had its the commercial importance and the significance. The Gujarat had its commercial significance or the importance, because understand it was the trade city, understand, or the from there the cargoes were now set out, understand. So the capture and the raising the more and more incomes for the empires, okay, Akbar now got the victory over that. So in the commemoration of that, in the celebrating victory, in that remembrance, as a reminiscences, Akbar now got the Buland Darwaja, meant to the remind the visitors of the Mughal victory in the Gujarat. And now this was the got constructed. Whosoever will come, understand, they will now this will remind the visitors the victory of the Gujarat, understand. So the Akbar got this victory over the Gujarat. It was not ordinary victory, understand. So now or moreover, so the Buland Darwaza was got constructed by the Akbar there, and for the visitors who used to the visit, understand, the Fatehpur Sikri and at the Ajmer Sharif, understand, and more. In 1585, the capital was transferred. One thing is that it transferred to the Lahore. I said that according to the circumstances or the according to the need, they shifted their capitals now from the in 1585 or the 90s. During that year, the Uzbeks were creating a great and the big troubles for the Mughal emperors. So the Mughal had the great menace for their Kabul and Kandahar. They wanted to retain the Kabul and Kandahar, and it was the great threat for in the way threat was now coming from the Uzbeks. So the Akbar wanted to ascertain the ascertain these territories, Kabul and Kandahar. That's why, and he could now control the area of Kabul and Kandahar, or the beyond the northwest frontiers of India. Understand, through the through getting and through the could get the command from the Lahore. Kabul and Kandahar could be the now controlled from the well controlled could be the made from the Lahore. Understand? So the capitals he now shifted the capital to the Lahore to now make secure the northwest frontiers or under a great control. Akbar closely watched the frontiers for the 13 years, and from there Akbar closely watched the frontiers of the northwest frontiers for the 13 years. Understand? Akbar now just took the control and keep the very strict and vigil watch over the invaders or over the intruders. Understand? Because he wanted to make safe the Kabul and Kandahar. Understand? That was the had been the one of the very significance. Understand? And had been the very significant route and was the one of the source of the income of the Mughals. Understand? The now here and the having the good contact with the northwest frontiers or the Kabul and Kandahar. So the Akbar now paid the much attentions towards the Kabul and Kandahar. So he shifted his capital for the defending the India and defending the Kabul and Kandahar and making the strong hold over the Kabul and Kandahar is shifted there. So now the next step, one thing is that Shahjahan. So we know that very well. Shahjahan supposed to be he was very fond of the making and the getting construction of the structures. Shahjahan, understand? We know very well Shahjahan had not got constructed the Taj Mahal. Understand? And apart from Taj Mahal, he now got constructed many of the structure during the Mughals period. Understand? Or memorable structures he now got constructed. But one thing is that is why the more a much large scale number of the structures were got constructed during the his period. Understand? Or it is said that his age, that is why his age is known as the golden age. Shahjahan age is supposed to and remembered as the golden age because he got constructed the many of the huge structure and attractive structures. Understand? And one thing is that Shahjahan pursued sound fiscal policies. One thing is that his sound fiscal policy he pursued. It was nothing else that he imposed the huge tax upon the farmers on the peasants. Understand? 50%, 1/2. Generally, 1/3 was being taken. Understand? But he took the 50% of the tax, imposed the huge tax, and these tax were now spent on the construction of the huge buildings by the Shahjahan. Although buildings were luminous, it was the now the shining, but it is somebody said that these buildings were now shining like the pearls. But these pearls are nothing else. The tears of the tears of the poor are shining in the buildings. Now the critics now said that. So the he now got constructed and the fiscal policy accumulated enough money to indulge his passion for the building. He now he collected enough money, much money by the imposing the huge amount of the tax upon the farmers. Shahjahan and the farmers had the very hard life. Understand? They had to lead a very hard life. They had to be the pay the 50% of their produce as a tax to the state. And from these accumulated wealth and the money, Shahjahan now building activities, he involved in the building activities or building activities and the monarchical sculptures. And this became the monarchical culture of the making the building. As now we see the case of earlier rulers were also fond of the got construct constructing, getting construction of the huge buildings, the earlier of the Shah Jahan, and was the most visible intangible sign of the dynastic power. Why the buildings were? Because in the buildings, through the buildings, the authority of the monarchs reflected among the peasants, and as well as dynastical power and the wealth and the prestige reflected. They now gain the prestige, their wealth, understand, their wealth and their prosperity reflected, or as well as the dynastical power symbolized the dynastical power, wealth, and the prestige. These huge buildings. So these were they were accustomed or to the getting and habituating of the getting the construction of the huge buildings. Moreover, in case of Muslim rulers, it was also considered an the act of pity. Now, some Muslims now supposed and the consider that these buildings are the act of the pity and act of the pity. These buildings are the, understand, their views had the different views they had. And moreover, in 1648, Shah Jahan himself, understand, he now in Delhi, understand, that is known as the Purani Delhi, okay, old Delhi, the where he got constructed, and in the area he now got settled, understand, and the Shah Jahanabad, and where he the fought his court, he shifted his court, army, and the household moved from Agra to the newly completed imperial capital Shah Jahanabad. He now got constructed and got settled the new capital Shah Jahanabad. From the Agra, the army, the courts, all the and the elites were shifted to the Shahjahanabad. Understand? And where? Or this was a new addition to the old residential city, city of the Delhi. This was the old residential city of the Delhi, and this was the edited a new additions on behalf of the Shah Jahan with the red, and where the new additions was now added and the got constructed the red forts, a grand buildings, the Jama Masjid. Understand? He got constructed Shah Jahan, and a three-lined esplanades with the bazaars, the Chandni Chowk. Understand? Chandni Chowk was got settled. It was the established and set up by the Shah Jahan, and spacious homes for the nobility. And now it was the natural that the seat of administration was shifted there to show the all the nobles and the official high officials. Okay, for them he got constructed the spacious palaces there, spacious homes for the nobility, and moreover, Shah Jahan's new city was appropriated to a more formal vision of the grand monarchy, a more formal vision of the grand monarchy, because these monarchs were habituated, they wanted to express their authorities, their dominance, their power, and they wanted to gain the obedience from the common man by establishing the such huge buildings to now to imprint to now to secure the people's obedience, and wanted to establish their dominance in their minds and their hearts. This was the main reasons behind these huge structures. Understand? The now here these Mughals were also the habituating of these huge structures. Understand? And the moreover, the Mughal court. One thing is that Mughal court was also one of the attractive. The Mughals were the habituating of the holding the darbar. Understand? Grand darbar. Okay, and where the physical arrangements of the court. These Mughals court were what? A physical arrangements. The king, understand, or according to the positions, according to their prestige and the positions, the darbar were now physically arranged. Understand? from top to the bottom, the hierarchical manner. In a very hierarchical manner, the at a top the emperors, and then the and after the emperors, these officials were now lined up. These officials were their sitting arrangements were now given there according to their status. As whosoever were the very close, their seat was the very close to the emperors, and according to that, one could now understand the position of officials and the closeness of an officials to the emperors. Understand? So the Darbar played a very important role in the Mughals courts and about their grandness, and focused on the sovereign. In the Darbar, particularly, entire focus in the Darbar was given and mirrored on the sovereign. Entire focus was given and mirrored his status as a heart of the society, or he held the emperor held the high status in the society, and in the society or in the court society, we can say that where he held the very high position, and around him all the officials, social groups, the elites were there, and beyond that, understand, the sovereign was placed, and his positions was placed at the top, and at a top, and now it's a centerpiece was therefore the throne, and in the darbar the centerpiece and the mid or the center saw the a grand throne there, understand, or this a grand throne, or the and that is the takht. Throne is as a takht, which gave the physical form to the function of the sovereign, and it's had the physical form, and from there the high physical form which was given, elevated at the highest elevated places, and it was the physical. From there he now delivered his or exercised his entire powers and the activities from that throne. So at the top, and the function of the sovereign at the axis mundi. Axis mundi was that what is that? Now on a pillars, understand, as the entire earth stable and rested and rest like that, his now throne was there, understand, and the others officials were as a pillar, and now he was the stable, like the axis mundi is a phrase for a pillars or the pole that is visualized as a support of the earth, understand. The now at the top, understand, on the position of axis mundi, the king was a emperor was visualized, sovereign was visualized, and the canopy, the umbrella likes, understand, a parasol like a canopy was there, a symbol of kinship, and this was a canopy as a symbol of kinship in India for the millennium, was a belief to separate the radiance of the sun from that of the sovereign, and canopy was given, and escaping or thus protecting him from the radiance of lights of the sun, understand, as a mark of that, as a mark of that, it was separated from the radiance, and as a cool shadow, understand, as a cool shadow, understand, was given from the radiant lights and the sun, understand. The canopy was as a mark of the sovereignty, as a king. So this canopy was also on the head of that, and moreover chronicles lay that down with great precision rules say defining status amongst the Mughal elites. Now, one thing is that I already mentioned that this say at a top the king was, his throne was there, takht was there, and other arrangements were made. Okay, the chairs and the arrangements, seating arrangements were made as a status of the elites. What the elites had in his or her status, according to that arrangement was made. Or now status in court, status was determined by the spatial proximity. A spatial, a spatial proximity to the king. Who is the very close and who is the apart from the king? Understand, and distant to the king. Understand? It was the decided through that seat and the seating arrangement in the court. Understand? Determined the spatial proximity. Whosoever the very close, they were the very close spatials, very close to the king. Whosoever the not, understand, they were given the distant place. And now, according to that, the place accorded to the courtiers by the ruler was assigned. Okay, the place accorded to the courtiers by the ruler was a sign of the importance in the eyes of the emperors. What the place was determined and place was given to the elites, to the courtiers. This was decided by the emperor, and this reflected the closeness. Whosoever is close, which elite is the close to the emperor, this was the decided and the considered and perceived by this arrangement. Whosoever the close, understand who is the far and who is the distant from the emperor, not so important in the eyes of the emperor. Understand their place, their seat was the distant. Who is the very close to the emperor? Their seat was the very close. But that is the very simple. That in the court arrangements, such kind of the arrangement was made in the courts. Understand? Okay, students. Today this was the next class I shall hold. Thank you.